Hello, and welcome to this video on accessibility in Blackboard. In this video, we will cover best practices in formatting that allow you to make the most of the accessible features in Blackboard, how to make accessibility accommodations in quizzes and tests, and how to make a Collaborate Ultra session as accessible as possible. Blackboard as a platform has many built-in accessible features, which I am going to go over in a minute. Blackboard becomes inaccessible when instructors add materials that aren't accessible. So it's important for that reason to make sure that your Word, PowerPoint, PDF, and Excel files for your course are all created with the principles of accessibility in mind. It's also best to choose textbooks that offer an electronic version wherever possible. A few features that make Blackboard itself accessible are built-in headers and items, announcements, and discussion boards. This means that someone using a screen reader can skip between them, allowing a quicker navigation through the page. You should keep that in mind when giving names to items, announcements, and discussion forums. Give them meaningful titles that allow students using a screen reader to know what the content is, so they can decide whether or not they want to read further or skip down to the next heading for now. So you might, for instance, want to give more meaningful titles to your announcements than simply announcement or the date and week. You can see, for instance, that these announcement titles give a sense of what information is related in the text. In order to give your course a sense of cohesion that makes it easier for everyone to quickly access its information, keep your course consistent in terms of formatting, font, and content. Use a clear font in at least 12-point size. You can change the font style, size, and color in the formatting toolbar of any content editor. We recommend to consistently use Blackboard's default font throughout your course site, which is automatically set to Arial size 3, which is 12-point font. Change the color by clicking on this T icon. It's important, if you use color in your Blackboard course, to make sure there is still a strong contrast between the color of the text and the background. So if the background is white, don't choose a light blue for the font. You should also avoid red and green, as these colors are difficult for people with color blindness to see. Color can be a way to personalize the look and feel of your course site, but be careful not to use too many different colors or highlights, as that can be distracting. And do not use color as the only means of communicating information, because screen readers will not read color. So, for instance, don't say all readings in blue are required, while readings in orange are optional. Another thing you should do to make your course more accessible is include alt text for all images, graphs, and charts that include important information. Alt text will be read to students accessing your course with a screen reader, so you only need to add alt text if the image carries important information. This photo, which is mostly decorative, does not need alt text. But this one, which is central to an assignment, does. To add alt text, go to the content editor, click on the image, and then click on the image icon. Here you can add either a title or an image description that will be read by a screen reader. Enter in either a title or an image description, but not both. Be sure to explain what are the most important elements of the image, graph, or chart in the alt text that you enter. You want to enter in whatever it is that you want the student who would be looking at the image to be able to get out of it. The next area of concern that we'll discuss is overarching formatting. Format each unit or weekly folder in the same way. So you can see that in this course, each module is organized using the same structure. So, looking at week 2 here, you can see that there is an assignment at the top, then a video, and then learning outcomes. If we look at week 3, it looks very similar to week 2 in terms of layout. We have an assignment at the top, followed by a video and other necessary materials, and then there are the learning goals at the bottom. Keeping your course consistent in terms of formatting prevents students from wasting time figuring out where the content and activities are before being able to get to work. This applies to the order of materials, as I just said, but it also applies to the form through which you are giving students their materials as well. This course is using folders, so you can see that it uses folders for each week's materials. You should follow the same format in each unit or week, regardless of whether you are using folders, lesson plans, or learning modules to organize your course content. Don't use folders for one week or unit, and then learning modules in a later one. While Blackboard is generally quite accessible, the biggest area that can be of concern from an accessibility standpoint is quizzes and exams. Because of the rigid rules for taking quizzes and exams, they can be inaccessible to someone who needs extra time, either because of a learning disability or because they are accessing the course through a screen reader. Often, those students will hand you a letter requesting accommodations for more time from your school's Office of Disability Services. You can give extended time to particular students by going into Edit Test Options. And then scrolling down to Test Availability Exceptions. Here you can add either a user or a group, and then you can change the number of attempts that they can have, as well as the availability. So this allows you to make the test available on a different day, or for a number of days, or at a different time, or for a different duration of time for individual students or groups of students. The last thing I'd like to discuss is Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, a web conferencing tool in Blackboard. This is what its interface looks like. Collaborate Ultra allows you to have real-time sessions with your students, or to have a guest lecturer, and to use an interactive whiteboard, audio and video, and chat. One major accessibility issue with Collaborate Ultra is that it does not have automatic closed captioning. You can, however, set a participant to do the closed captioning. With this tool, you could ask students to take turns captioning. Another option is that your institution can pay someone to do the live closed captioning for you. This is something to keep in mind if you do have students in the class who have hearing impairments. Contact the Office of Student Disability Services at your institution should this need arise. One thing you can do to increase Collaborate Ultra's accessibility is to keep in mind that if students or you are interacting with the screen, not all students may be able to participate or see the action, so it's a good idea to also always narrate or comment on what's going on the screen. Other measures you can take are to load clear content or slides that follow accessibility guidelines in terms of font, style, and size. Speak clearly, repeat yourself, and record your session. It's also best practice to make any slides or other materials you're planning to use available to students beforehand. Thank you for watching this video on accessibility in Blackboard.